Thank you. Please take your seats. At this time, we will have the occasion given by Mr. Aubrey Brown, Mr. South Carolina State University, followed by greetings from Mr. Douglas Gant, our chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Constance McLeod, representing the National Alumni Association, and then Ms. Aviana Hogue, Miss South Carolina State University.
Let us pray. O God, we solemnly gather in your presence to honor this 127th Founders Day of South Carolina State University. We remember those first visionaries that envisioned a school where free black folks could esteem higher learning amid racism, poverty, and other tumultuous issues. We thank you for the commitment of vested people that strive to keep that legacy alive. We celebrate with those that support and hold high the garnet and blue banner. Oh God, help us to grow in knowledge, duty, and honor. Lastly, may the work we do here and now leave this school a better place for future generations. For it is in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Good afternoon, Bulldog family and friends. As chairman of the board and a graduate of this illustrious institution, I'm honored to bring you greetings on behalf of South Carolina State University Board of Trustees. I am pleased to stand before you as we celebrate 120 years of educational excellence. This university was built to provide educational opportunities to students, which in turn improve the quality of life among the citizens of our state, nation, and beyond. Therefore, our theme for this occasion, celebrating our history, building for the future, is most appropriate for today's celebration. South Carolina State University's rich history and incomparable legacy have been evident since 1896. We have made great progress over the years, and history is well documented. Today, we celebrate our history, but I'm even more excited about building for the future. We are here during one of the greatest times in our history of existence. It is indeed a great time to be a Bulldog. Under the leadership of President Conyers and this dedicated board, we're working to ensure a thriving and sustainable future for South Carolina State University. We often speak of tenacity as our driving force, and it has never been more true and more prevalent than in today. It takes a village of tenacious students, tenacious employees, tenacious alumni, and certainly tenacious givers and supporters to move even higher levels of excellence. We want to continue to provide students with opportunities to attend South Carolina State University, earn degrees, make a difference in the world. This is who we are and what we do. On this Founders Day, let us continue to work together for our university, renew our commitment, and defend her and honor her as always. On behalf of the South Carolina State University Board of Trustees, we're a loyal and dedicated board, and we collectively pledge our commitment to this university. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Aubrey C. Brown, the reigning Mr. South Carolina State University, and I am so pleased that you decided to share this special day, the 127th Founders Day, with us. We are here to reaffirm the rich heritage and tradition of excellence exemplified by our predecessors, current students, and alumni. Today, we recognize examples of excellence among staff and faculty, loyal alumni, and community leaders. In keeping with our theme, celebrating our history, building for the future, I invite you to continue to share in the SC State experience, not just today, but every day. Ladies and gentlemen, always remember the place, the legacy, South Carolina State University. Thank you.
Good afternoon. To Bulldog family and friends, I am delighted to bring greetings on behalf of Hank Allen, our president, from the South Carolina State University National Alumni Association, as we celebrate the founding of our esteemed university. We want to recognize the tremendous impact that the university has had on our society and how it has shaped the lives of countless individuals over the past 127 years, creating a rich legacy that made us proud to say we are alum, faculty, staff, or student of South Carolina State University. The university has served and continues to act as a beacon of hope, opportunity, and possibility for those looking to make their mark wherever they might be. We are a part of a long, proud tradition of excellence and productivity. As President Conyers likes to say, you can't get anywhere from here. And I'm a pastor, I want to say amen, somebody. Amen. The National Alumni Association has been a proud partner of the university since 1918, and our members have worked tirelessly to support and advance the university's mission, aspirations, and goals. Our loyal sons and daughters are committed to providing the unconditional help and backing needed to take the university onward and upward, ensuring its students can become future world leaders. A great example is our speaker today, Chief Justice Donald Beatty, class of 1974, an active life member of the association and Thomas E. Miller Society member who got there from here. Thank you, Chief Justice Beatty, for being a loyal and dedicated son who always reaches back and gives back. So on this special day, the National Association, the Alumni Association, proudly sends its best wishes to celebrate the legacy of our beloved alma mater, South Carolina State University. We join in and saying, Happy 127th Founders Day. Amen.
Good afternoon. My name is Iviana Ivy Hogue, and I currently serve as the 86th Miss South Carolina State University. Welcome. Welcome to South Carolina State University 127th Founders Day program. 127 years of unparalleled commitment to change, determination to be the epitome of prestige, and devoutness to serving the surrounding communities that line our beloved university's borders with character. Colored Normal Industrial, Agricultural, and Mechanical College of South Carolina was founded on March 4th, 1896, and altered the trajectory of education within South Carolina State. Founded via land grant distribution, Colored Normal Industrial, Agricultural, and Mechanical College of South Carolina upon the backs of visionaries who dared to dream of a brighter future, ushered in by having access to quality, sustainable, and fair education. 127 years later, and now South Carolina State University, that dream is continuously blooming into fruition. With over 2,900 students, 30,000 plus active alumni, South Carolina State University is a launching pad toward success that grants students with the tools necessary for success beyond their departure from the institution. Home to many distinguished degrees such as biology, speech, language, pathology and audiology, agricultural business, education, and mechanical engineering, South Carolina State University is a university that can contain some of the brightest students in the world that compete boldly within their programs of study internationally. 31% of African American educators, superintendents, and principals are graduates from South Carolina State University. I am proud to stand before you all today as a product of that tremendous statistic. As we join together to celebrate our continuous efforts towards prosperity, let us remember March 4th, 1896 as a day of trailblazing, tenacity, and a day that redefined what it meant to be educated as an African American in the state of South Carolina on a great day in 1896. Thank you, and once again, welcome to South Carolina State University's 127th Founders Day program.
At this time, Ms. Pierre, a soprano, will perform Ain't That Good News by Edward Boatner, accompanied by Dr. Lee on the piano.
I've got a grown up in the kingdom, ain't that good news? I've got a grown up in the kingdom, ain't that good news? I'm gonna lead on this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, ain't that good news? I've got a robe up in that kingdom, ain't that good news? I've got a robe up in that kingdom, ain't that good news? I'm gonna lean on this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, ain't that good news? I've got a Savior in that kingdom, ain't that good news? I've got a Savior in that kingdom, ain't that good news? I'm gonna lean on this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, ain't that good news? I've got a Savior in that kingdom, ain't that good news? I've got a Savior in that kingdom, ain't that good news? I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, ain't that good news?
Thank you, Ms. Pierre. Thank you so very much. How fitting. After 127 years, in spite of the challenges, in the aftermath of slavery, Jim Crow, institutional racism, historic underfunding, South Carolina State University still stands. Ain't that good news? At this time, we will have the introduction of our guest speaker by Mr. Stephen Beatty, who currently serves as the chairman of our foundation. And it just so happens he has the same last name as our guest speaker. Mr. Beatty, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy Founders Day, everybody. Wait a minute. Now, the president just told y'all how we came through all of this adversity and we lasted 127 years and we're still a leading institution, and y'all act like that happened every day. Y'all act like institutions stay relevant and stay effective for 127 years every day. Now, I'm not a preacher, but people tell me something like one. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone in the audience, everyone on the dais, everyone watching virtually, including my parents who are 1965 and 1970 graduates of South Carolina State University. Good afternoon, President Conyers, Chairman Gant, the Board of Trustees, and the South Carolina State University Board of Directors, those who are here in attendance and those watching virtually. Good afternoon to the university faculty and staff. And most importantly, good afternoon to the students. Thank you for hanging in there with us. I know you'd rather be somewhere else for spring break, but you're here with us and we appreciate it. So I think that covers everybody, right? I said hello to everybody. Okay. Thank you for asking me to introduce such an extraordinary and historic individual. It is my extreme honor to bring this man to you on this occasion because he means so much to this university. He means so much to the state of South Carolina. It means so much to this country, and more importantly, my family. To you, he's Chief Justice Donald W. Beatty. To me, he's Uncle Don. But before I introduce him, I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege to acknowledge the 2023 inductees of the Thomas E. Miller Society. I know it's on the program, and they will be thanked and introduced a little later on, and you see their beautiful photos here displayed to my right. I had the privilege last evening to attend the induction ceremony, and in a word, it was inspiring. It was literally a recruitment video, the entire event. It was also reflective. I was particularly struck by the collective excellence of this group of loyal sons, loyal daughters, and friends that this group represented. They are living examples of what I believe Thomas E. Miller had in mind when he opened the doors of the colored, normal, industrial, agriculture, and mechanical college of South Carolina State University 127 years ago yesterday, on March 4th, 1826. I have to believe that that was a part of the vision, and it is so apropos that we celebrate the contributions of these wonderful individuals while we honor the founding of this great institution. Congratulations to the inductees. Would you please give them a round of applause? The South Carolina State University Foundation Board of Directors and staff are profoundly grateful for all that you have done and all that you will continue to do to support the mission of South Carolina State University, or how I was first introduced to SC State College. Now let me introduce my Uncle Don. Chief Justice Donald W. Beatty is a 1974 graduate of South Carolina State College, now University. He's a native of the Sparkle City, Spartanburg, South Carolina, where he was born to parents Arthur and Ruth Beatty. He is one of 7 Beatty children that we, siblings and cousins, fondly refer to as the elders. They are the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of our family. Their official title that they're lovingly known by as the board. They provide executive leadership, they legislate, they adjudicate, and enforce the laws of our family. You like that word, adjudicate, don't you, Uncle Don? His siblings, he and his siblings were reared in the Tobias Hartwell Public Housing Projects in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The elders constantly remind us, their offspring, that we are not project. Now that doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't have the same stereotypical connotation that project means. What they mean by project is that we don't have their swagger, we don't have their sway, the cut of our jib could never match theirs. I happen to agree. But the benefit of age and experience has taught me that what they really mean is the sense of community that raised them. Out of those humble beginnings grew a family dedicated to service of community. And thus, we have never had to look far for inspiration. Uncle Don and his siblings, they show us that excellence and commitment to community every day. They show us what it looks like, what it lives like, and what it loves like. As a family, we are grateful for our elders, and as a family, we are especially proud of Chief Justice Donald Beatty. Tenacity, integrity, excellence, servant leadership personified. One of the best men I know. One of the best that this university, that this state, that this country has to offer, and I'm proud to call him family. His judicial career began in 1995 when he was elected to the Circuit Court. In 2003, he was elevated to the Court of Appeals. In 2007, Chief Justice Beatty was elected to the South Carolina Supreme Court. And on January the 1st, 2017, he was elected Chief Justice of South Carolina State, of the South Carolina General, by the South Carolina General Assembly, making him only the second black South Carolina Supreme Court justice since Reconstruction. Chief Justice Beatty is a dedicated public and community servant. He is a former Spartanburg City Councilman and formerly a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives. He has served on numerous boards and commissions. He holds memberships in several professional associations and community organizations. Some of his memberships include the American Law Institute, Conference of Chief Justice Board of Directors, National Council of Sciences and Education. Chief Justice Beatty has received many awards for his career achievements. Just to name a few, he has received multiple honorary Doctor of Laws, the Harvey Gantt Triumph Award, American Board of Trial Advocate Jurist of the Year, and he's a member of the South Carolina Lawyers Hall of Fame. Chief Justice Beatty is a dedicated alum to this great institution. He's a life member of the National Alumni Association that was mentioned earlier. He's also an active member of the Spartanburg Alumni Chapter. And as also was mentioned earlier, he's a member of the esteemed Thomas E. Miller Society. Chief Justice is married to my beautiful aunt, Angela Chestnut Beatty, sitting right here in the front row. They have two daughters, Morgan Beatty and Austin Harris, a son-in-law, Alex Harris, who we love. Uncle Don and Aunt Angie have two adorable grandchildren, Leighton and Emerson, who they're very proud of. And last but not least, Chief Justice Beatty is a life member of the greatest fraternity in the world, the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, where he is a 1971 initiate of the best chapter in Omega, the Do or Die Xi Psi chapter. Without further ado, please welcome my uncle, Chief Justice Donald Beatty.
Good afternoon. We can do a little bit better than that. My nephew attempted to get you all really into this, but let's try it again. It's a beautiful day. We haven't seen a day like today in quite some time. Now, all of you have been outside. You were outside in order to get here. It was a beautiful day, so let's give it some due. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I consider it an honor to be allowed to address this august body during the celebration of the founding of our beloved university. I recognize that it is Sunday afternoon, And some of you traveled as far as I did and probably further to get here. And you will have to journey back later this afternoon. So I can assure you that I'll be short no matter how long it takes. Now, as it's been indicated, I'm a 1974 grad of this fine institution. And if you do the quick math, it's about 49 years. But my history with this university doesn't start there. It started before with other family members visiting the Bulldog Stadium. So my family roots are deep here. At last count, and this is just me counting, I was a history major, not a math major, but I come up with about 15 family members who are graduates of this institution. So, ladies and gentlemen, it means a lot to me to be here. I told you it's been 49 years since I graduated. I know it doesn't, I don't look like that, I'm sure. But you know, every time that I step foot on this campus, I get excited. My heart rate picks up. My eyes dart left to right as I traverse the campus, looking to see what has changed since I've been here last. South Carolina State is here with me. You see, South Carolina State was a life-changing experience for me. Like most students, I arrived here a young and impressionable person, unsure of myself and not ready for the world. But fortunately, my professors didn't see it that way. They saw me a little differently. They saw me as a mound of clay ready to be molded, a blank canvas ready for an artist to paint his or her best work. South Carolina State prepared me for the world. I was proud, I am proud, and I was happy with my time here. Here I recognized that every day was another opportunity to learn something new. Again, I left South Carolina State ready for whatever the world had to offer. Our theme for this occasion is celebrating our history, building for the future. Now, early in the week, I had already prepared my remarks and I was reviewing them. And I looked back at the theme, celebrating our history, building for the future. Now, while thinking about this theme, it struck me that there is an interesting yet ironic direct connection between our history, this Founders Day celebration, and important current events as it relates to funding of education. So, quite frankly, I changed my remarks. So I'm going to ask that you indulge me for a minute. Now, there's a lot of history in the program. But as I indicated, I'm kind of a history buff, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that's not listed there. So I'm going to ask that you indulge me for a minute or two to talk a little bit about our history. I will not attempt a chronological account of our history from 1896 to now. However, I do honestly believe that some discussion of our history is in order for just context. Now, if you are really interested in our history and you are not satisfied with the account that's listed in the back of your program, I'm going to recommend a book to you. And that book was written by one of the former professors here, William C. Hine. In fact, he taught me my freshman year. The book is entitled South Carolina State University, a Black Land-Grant College in Jim Crow America. It's good reading. You'd find something new that you thought you knew everything about this institution, but I can assure you, you will come up with something a little different. Now, if you will, I want you to take a short walk with me through our early history. If you can imagine, the year is 1895. South Carolina was in the middle of approving a new state constitution. The Reconstruction era was over, and white people had regained full control of government and the Southern way of life. Educational opportunities for blacks were very limited. The little education available was provided by religious or private organizations. For some time, many in the black community had been unhappy with the existence of white leadership at Claflin. This leadership also controlled the new agricultural and mechanical education program funded by the federal government. Some in the black community held strong opinions that the program should be led by black teachers and black administrators. Thomas Miller was one of them. A group led by black rights activist Thomas Miller, and he was an activist in those days, advocated for detaching the agriculture and mechanical education program from Claflin. Miller was a prominent politician, had been a member of Congress, but at that time he was a member of the South Carolina legislature. Miller was determined to remove the program from Claflin. In order to accomplish this, Miller made an alliance with a very unlikely ally, Pitchfork Ben Tillman. Tillman was the former governor and current South Carolina senator at that time. Tillman was an extreme racist even for that day and time. Tillman was a proponent of lynching, opposed to educating blacks, and opposed to black voting. His nickname, Pitchfork, was well deserved. In my personal opinion, he was a despicable human being. Now, Tillman opposed any effort to educate blacks, so he pushed for a new state constitution that would prevent or make it very difficult for blacks to vote or receive an education. The new constitution was approved by the people of South Carolina and our legislature in 1895, and that is the current constitution that we operate under right now. Now, one of the provisions of that new constitution is now Article 10, Section 11, would prevent giving public money to religious or private institutions. Claflin was a private school for blacks and supported by the Methodist Church. See where we're going here. Miller asked Tillman for help in moving the agriculture and mechanical program from Claflin. Tillman was happy to help. He saw this as a win-win situation. It provided an opportunity to remove funding from a private school that educated blacks to a school that he had some influence or some measure of control over. Tillman agreed to help on the conditions that Miller become president, one, and that Miller stop his political activities, two. For his own personal and good reasons, Miller agreed. And this institution that we now call South Carolina State University was born. Tillman ensured that the agriculture and mechanical program was removed from Claflin to South Carolina State. Now, I told you there was a direct connection between our history, this program today, and current events. Let's see if I can draw that line and connect those dots. Current events make the history that I just recounted interesting, if not important. It is ironic that this past week, the House of Representatives of South Carolina debated amending the state's constitution to remove the provision that Tillman insists be inserted in it. Now remember, Tillman put the provision in the state's constitution to prevent public funding for religious and private organizations or institutions that educated black folk. Now, it is both interesting and ironic that the rationale that they are now using as support for removing this provision from our current constitution is because it was racist. Its whole purpose was racist, and that it should be removed. Now, that statement is quite true. It was racist. It was inserted in the Constitution to hurt black folk. There's no doubt about that, and no one contests that. But believe me when I say that is not the reason why there's a desire to remove it now. Racism has absolutely nothing to do with it. The real and true and non-controverted reason is simply this: that provision now prevents public funding of private schools, schools whose students are overwhelmingly white. Now, I'm told that some people think that giving public money to private schools means that there's less money for public schools, the schools that most of our children attend. Now, I don't know if that's true, but what do you think? What do you think? Now, that is a rhetorical question. I don't expect an answer, and I hope you don't try to give me one. Ladies and gentlemen, that provision that we're talking about, that is to amend our Constitution and to remove that prohibition on spending public money at private and religious institutions, is going to be, or probably I should say, be on your ballot this November. It needs the voters' approval before it becomes law. Ladies and gentlemen, voting matters. Now, let me continue our walk through history just a bit further. I want you to imagine the year 1896, when this university was founded as an independent institution separate from Claflin. I want you to see our first class of students walking down that long dirt road through the gates on this campus. They are greeted by the president, Dr. Thomas Miller, and his faculty of 13. Can you see that in your minds? He shows them the campus, which consists of 135 acres, 8 small weathered buildings, and a little dairy farm. You would think those students would be discouraged, but they were not. They were not discouraged by what they saw. They were proud, hopeful, and focused on receiving an education so that they can improve their quality of life and the quality of life of those in their community. The conditions aren't adequate. Students recognize that. Yet the students remain focused and hopeful the whole time. They roll up their sleeves and pitch in to better the conditions at the school. They cut down trees from the campus forest and used the lumber to build the first dormitory and classroom buildings. They used some of the same lumber to fashion benches for the classrooms. They tended the farm to provide food for their fellow students. All the while, they remained focused on their purpose for being there. We persevered. We learned to do more with less. As time passed, we evolved from an institution that provided a primary school level education and some teacher preparation to a legitimate college. Now, if I can move forward in time just a little, and I won't be long, I want you to reflect back on the day that you entered the campus of South Carolina State for the first time. What did you see? Do you remember what the gate looked like? The buildings? Do you remember your dorm and your first roommate? Who did you meet? What were your professors like? You're thinking about it now, aren't you? That warm, cozy feeling that you are experiencing is what we want to renew and build upon. Our legacy. Our legacy of self-reliance and creating a caring and nurturing environment that focused on academic and social development in order to prepare our students to successfully compete in the world. I believe that we are building on our legacy. Evidence of that you'll see later with all those Miller Society inductees. Our alumni giving is up. We are collaborating with other educational institutions in new ways. We are partnering with business community to prepare our students to meet the growing needs of the business community. And we are adapting our course offerings to correlate to today's needs. These things are very positive indicators. But ladies and gentlemen, there is still work to be done. We must be more proactive if we can in order to sustain our legacy. I believe, and this is just my belief, that we must be concerned with the following 5 things. Consistency in leadership. Now, I am not suggesting that we keep ineffective leaders for consistency's sake. However, I am saying that consistency is often necessary for stability. When we look back at what I will describe as our good legacy years, you will find that they occurred during the tenure of presidents who enjoyed some degree of longevity. Number 2, I think financial stability and accountability are necessary. We must increase alumni giving. We must insist upon equitable funding from the state legislature. And ladies and gentlemen, you can't do that without some political activity. You need to be politically active. Letter writing campaigns do work. And ladies and gentlemen, we must recognize that accountability for our expenditures and funding promotes more giving and funding. If people think you're doing the right thing with their money, they're apt to share a little bit more of it with you. Number 3, we got to stop settling for mediocrity. Mediocrity in our leadership, mediocrity in our professional staff. Number 4, we got to protect our brand. An outsider's first contact with the university should be a positive and impressive experience. Representatives should be well-informed, competent, pleasant, and able to communicate. Number 5, we have to increase our visibility. We have to let people know who we are, what we are. We have to appear outside of Orangeburg, South Carolina. Now, I've noticed we are doing some advertising. I've seen billboards. I've seen it on the news in Columbia when I'm there. These are all new things, and they're wonderful things. We should do more of it in more places than the places that I've seen. Now, USC is on the news all the time. Clemson is in the news advertising all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, if no one knows we're here, they're not going to know to give us any money, to send their kids here, to know what we do, to know our legacy, to know that we are a quality institution. And you can get to anywhere from here. Now, I referenced a book that I recommended to you about South Carolina State's history. I'm going to read you something that Mr. Hines, or Dr. Hines, I'm not familiar which is appropriate at this point in time, has on the jacket cover. He says, since the founding in 1896, South Carolina State University has provided vocational, undergraduate, and graduate education for generations of African Americans. Now the state's flagship historically black university, it achieved this recognition after decades of struggling against poverty, inadequate funding, and infrastructure. Professor Hines described the lived experiences of those of us affiliated with this university. We know what he's talking about. And he spent some 40-some years here, I believe, himself. We are painfully aware of our history of having to do more with less. Yet, ladies and gentlemen, we glow, as we should, when we think of our successes and the achievements of our graduates. Now, at Dr. King's funeral, a well-known speaker remarked, "From seeds of his body blossomed the flower that liberated a people and touched the soul of a nation." Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you this evening, South Carolina State University is a flower that has produced more than 30,000 seeds that have blossomed into leaders and noteworthy personalities across this state and nation. We are noted in the fields of science, education, business, medicine, law, military science, politics, music, and athletics. In short, there's nothing that our graduates have not excelled in. Again, you can get there from here. In closing, I believe that we are on the right track and moving forward. We have a wonderful history to celebrate. And ladies and gentlemen, we must continue to build for the future. Thank you very much.
Justice Beatty. Justice Beatty, on behalf of the entire South Carolina State University, thank you for your tremendous work that you have done. Thank you for the way that you have represented South Carolina State University across this country. And I want to personally thank you for providing an additional educational opportunity for our students last semester. Last semester, the Chief Justice brought the Supreme Court here on this campus, where we transformed this stage into a courtroom and allowed our students and students from local high schools and elementary schools to watch judges in action. The Supreme Court in action as attorneys argued their cases in front of our South Carolina Supreme Court, and that was because of Justice Beatty. Thank you, Chief, very much.
Thank you.
At this time, we will have a selection. Where is Mr. Gabriel? Yes, thank you very much. We will have a selection by an outstanding musician, an even greater student, and just a phenomenal young man. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe, and as always, thank you for what you do for this university. I always enjoy interacting with you. And Gabe is a senior music major from the big city of Orangeburg, South Carolina. At this time, Dr. Evans.
Thank you, President Conyers. In November 1974, the state of South Carolina initiated the Employee Service Award Program. The purpose of this program is to recognize and show appreciation to those employees who have demonstrated their interest in serving the citizens of South Carolina through continued employment with state agencies. The university has chosen the Founders Day program as a time to recognize these employees. The 10-year and 20-year honorees are seated in the audience and may pick up their awards and state service pins from the Office of Human Resources. The honorees in each group are asked to stand as your names are called, face the audience, and remain standing until all persons are recognized. I would ask the audience to please hold your applause until the end of each group. The 10-year Service Award, Dr. Walkway Christian Chuckwell, Associate Professor, Department of Engineering Technology. Dr. Maria A. James, Department Chairperson for the Department of Family and Consumer Sciences in the College of Agriculture, Family and Consumer Sciences. Let's give her and Dr. Chuckwell a round of applause. The 20-year Service Award, Dr. Jennifer Cash, Professor of Physics, Department of Biological and Physical Sciences. Dr. Nikati Injek, Associate Professor, Department of Educational Leadership. Dr. Young Kim, Professor, Department of Computer Science and Mathematics. Dr. Bridget Hollis Stanton, Professor, Rehabilitation Counseling, the Department of Human Services. Mrs. Juanita H. Strait, Administrative Assistant, Miller F. Whitaker Library. Let's give them a round of applause. "30 years of service." Recipients of the 30 and 40 years of service awards and the 2023 Quarter Century Club's members are seated on the stage. Chairman Gant and President Conyers will assist in the presenting of these awards. Will Chairman Gant and President Conyers please come forward? Will each recipient of the 30-year Service Award please come forward as your names are called? Dr. Jacqueline Jones Brown, Assistant Professor and Clinical Educator, NISHLA Graduate Advisor, the Department of Speech, Pathology, and Audiology. Mrs. Christelle Rogers, Paralegal, Office of the General Counsel. Will the recipients of the 40-Year Service Award please come forward as your names are called? Dr. Louise A. Allen, Professor, the Department of Educational Leadership. I receive a note that she is not here today. Dr. Hassanal A. Basha, Professor of Engineering, Technology, and the Department Chair of Engineering Technology. Today, we have a very special award for an employee who has been with the university a half of a century. 50 years of excellent service. Will our historic 50-year Service Award recipient, Mrs. Gloria Dean Powles, Director of Title III, please come forward.
The chairman will present those to you.
50 years, Mrs. Gloria D. Powles, Assistant Professor of Counseling, the Department of Human Services, and Director of Title III.
Okay, wait a minute.
2023 Quarter Century Club Awards. The following persons were honored at a luncheon earlier today and inducted into the Quarter Century Club. The club recognizes those persons at the university who have given 25 or more years of service to the institution. Each of the honorees seated on the stage will at this time receive a plaque that reads, South Carolina State University, a tribute to the person's name. You hereby proclaim a member of the Quarter Century Club in recognition of and appreciation for 25 years of dedicated and unselfish service to the university and to the students whose lives you have touched. March 5th, 2023, Orangeburg, South Carolina. Will each person come forward as your name is called? The 2023 Quarter Century Club inductees are Dr. Ido Abajan, Associate Extension Administrator, 1890 Research and Extension. Mrs. Stephanie Edwards Phelps, Director, Child Development Learning Center, Instructor, Family and Consumer Sciences in the College of Agriculture, Family and Consumer Sciences. Mrs. Annette Smalls Russell, Administrative Assistant, the Department of Educational Leadership. Mrs. Ophelia Smith, Data Coordinator 2, VA Coordinator, Office of the Registrar and Veteran Affairs. We congratulate each of you on reaching this significant milestone and for the dedication and devotion to this institution that you continue to inspire. And now, the Distinguished Alumnus and Service Awards. Founders Day is also a time for the university to recognize its alumni and other individuals who have distinguished themselves through exemplary service, dedication, and commitment to our institution. Recipients of our Distinguished Alumnus and Service Awards are instrumental in helping us maintain our legacy of excellence. The complete biographical information on each recipient is included in your program. Our first recipient, Dr. Monifa B. McKnight, please come forward. This distinguished award is presented to Dr. Monifa B. McKnight, class of 1999, in recognition of exemplary accomplishments in the field of educational leadership. Groundbreaking appointment as the first woman and second African American to serve as superintendent of Montgomery County Public Schools in Maryland, the largest school system in the state serving over 160,000 students. Skill in school management, instructional leadership, secondary education, visionary leader for systems of educational opportunity, loyal and dedicated support of alma mater. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, Orangeburg, South Carolina. The Distinguished Young Alumnus Award is presented to Akeem J. Brown, class of 2014. In recognition of exemplary accomplishments in the field of educational leadership, founder and superintendent of Essence Preparatory Charter School, serving students of color, grades K through 6, San Antonio, Texas, developing leaders as change agents, curriculum focus on strong student performance, project-based learning, self-discovery, loyal and dedicated supporter of alma mater. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. The Outstanding Accomplishments and Achievement Award is presented to Chief Justice Donald W. Beatty, class of 1974. Chief Beatty.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I want to clean up something. When my nephew introduced my children, he didn't mention my son Brandon and his lovely wife. So I can get home, I want to make certain that he did not go unmentioned. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you.
That's what cousins do, I tell you.
Thank you. Chief Donald W. Beatty, class of 1974, in recognition of outstanding accomplishments in the legal profession, attained the highest position within the South Carolina Judicial Branch as Chief Justice of the South Carolina State Supreme Court since January 1st, 2017, nominated for a federal judgeship by President Barack Obama, served South Carolina General Assembly, Circuit Court and Court of Appeals, a South Carolina attorney since 1979, servant, loyal, and dedicated supporter of alma mater. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. Chief Beatty. Distinguished Alumni Award is presented to the class of 1967. In recognition of exemplary accomplishments by members of the class of 1967 is evident through the cooperative and sharing spirit as a group in making a major cash contribution of $220,566 to the university. Leadership and ingenuity in taking action towards the improvement and perpetuation of the SCSU experience, loyal and dedicated support of alma mater, and exemplary service to humanity. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. Distinguished Alumni Award is presented to the class of 1972. In recognition of exemplary accomplishments by members of the class of 1972, as evident through the cooperative and sharing spirit as a group in making a major cash contribution of $318,019 to the university. Leadership and ingenuity in taking actions towards the improvement and perpetuation of the SCSU experience, loyal and dedicated support of alma mater, and exemplary service to humanity. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. The Distinguished Alumni Award is presented to the class of 1977. In recognition of exemplary accomplishments by the members of the class of 1977 as evidence through the cooperative and sharing spirit as a group in making a major cash contribution of $120,436 to the university. Leadership and ingenuity in taking actions towards the improvement and perpetuation of the SCSU experience, loyal and dedicated support of alma mater, and exemplary service to humanity. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. The Distinguished Alumni Award is presented to the class of 1982. In recognition of exemplary accomplishments by members of the class of 1982 is evidence through the cooperative and sharing spirit as a group in making a major cash contribution of $111,789 to the university. Leadership and ingenuity in taking actions towards the improvement and perpetuation of the SCSU experience, loyal and dedicated support of alma mater, and exemplary service to humanity. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. The Distinguished Alumni Award is presented to the class of 1987. In recognition of exemplary accomplishments by members of the class of 1987 is evident through the cooperative and sharing spirit as a group in making a cash contribution of $143,000 to the university. Leadership and ingenuity in taking actions towards the improvement and perpetuation of the SCSU experience, loyal and dedicated support of alma mater, and exemplary service to humanity. Founders Day, March 5th, 2023, South Carolina State University. It is essential that the university's legacy be maintained. And one way of accomplishing this is through the support of his alma mater and other friends provided to the university. The university is appreciative of the generosity exhibited and has initiated the Thomas E. Miller Society to express its appreciation to those who have made significant financial contributions with a minimum of $100,000 to the university. The university is pleased to recognize the Miller Society class of 2023, the largest class to date with 13 inductees that was inducted at a ceremony last evening. Will our first recipients, Colonel Retired Clinton A. and Dr. Elaine A. Fields, please join me at the podium. Okay, I have a note that they are not present. Our next inductee is Mr. John J. Funny, class of 1987. Our next inductees are Mr. James L. and Mrs. Portia L. K. Gilliard. Excuse me. Mr. and Ms. Gilliard, congratulations. Our next inductee, Dr. James K. Harley, class of 1995. I have a note that he is not attending today. Next inductees are Lieutenant Colonel Retired Donald M. and Mrs. Alicia A. Harrison, class of 1979. Our next inductee, Mr. Dino A. James, class of 1990. Mr. President, this next inductee, I must request permission to announce the name my own way.
Okay.
The next inductee is Mr. Irvin Magic Johnson. I always wanted to say that, but he's not here today. Yeah. Thank you. Our next inductee is Major General Retired Larry and Mrs. Tanja P. Neitner, class of 1972. It's my understanding that they are not here today as well. The next inductee is Attorney Matthew T. Richardson, not here as well. The next inductee, Mr. Curtis A. and Desma B. Stevens, class of 1974, 68, and 75. Our next inductee is Dr. Armstrong Williams, a class of 1981. I understand that he had to leave. Our next inductee is Lieutenant Colonel retired Freddie L. and Mary A. Williams, class of 1976. And our last inductee is Dr. Ann Shepard Winstead, class of 1971. Please join me in congratulating our 2023 inductees. The Staff Employee of the Year Awards. It is always a pleasure for us to recognize excellence in all aspects of work at the university. This afternoon, we are honored to recognize and applaud the South Carolina State University Staff Employees of the Year, who were selected by their peers for achieving excellence in each of the university's division. The Professor of the Year will be recognized May 12, 2023, during our commencement ceremony. These contributions embody the type of dedication and excellence the university must strive for and achieve in providing educational services for the global community. We commend each of you for the service, dedication, and excellence that you have exhibited in performing your duties. As part of President Conyers' commitment to faculty and staff recognition programs, today's honorees will receive the following: division winners, $400 each, and the overall winner, $900. Please come forward as your name is called. The 2023 Staff Employee of the Year Awards are Mrs. Crystal Howard Darby, Division Student Affairs, South Carolina State University Police Department. Mr. Maurice V. Mitchell II, Division of 1890, Research and Extension, Marketing and Communications. Mr. Hardeep Judge, Head Tennis Coach, Division of Athletics. Award will be accepted on behalf of our Athletic Director, Ms. Keisha Campbell. Our next award goes to Mrs. Juanita H. Strait, Division of Academic Affairs, Miller F. Whitaker Library. And our last recipient, the award goes to Ms. Janet McGlon, Division of Finance and Management, Office of Procurement. And now, the South Carolina State University Staff Employee of the Year for 2023 goes to Mrs. Juanita H. Strait, Division of Academic Affairs, Miller F. Whitaker Library. Dr. Diane Bruce, the 2021 Staff Employee of the Year, will now pass the chalice to Mrs. Strait. Let's give all of our honorees another round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. Thank you, Trustee, Mr. Chair, for assisting in awarding these very, very important employees. Now, don't you hate it when you ask someone to do something and it doesn't get done? I think Dr. Evans said those awardees would receive, the division levels was $400 and the overall was $900. I'm pretty sure I told Ms. Howard that would be $500 and $1,000. Thank you, thank you. So congratulations again to all of you. Now, Chief Justice, you talked about perhaps being in trouble for not recognizing your son. Thank you for prompting me to recognize my wife. So at this time, I would like to recognize my wife, Agatha Humans Conyers, class of 1986. Now, this is the part where I was recognizing everyone. So, Agatha, again, thank you for all that you do and assisting me work for these students every single day. Your work does not go unnoticed. Again, we are very, very happy to have our Board of Trustees here with us this evening. You've heard remarks from our chairman, Chairman Gant. Sir, thank you again. Will all of our Board of Trustees please stand? We have Trustee Jenkins, Friday, Schuler, Oden, and then we have our SGA President, Mrs. Cephas, as well as Dr. Theory, who leads our faculty, and Dr. Presley Franklin, who leads our staff. Thank you very, very much. You heard earlier from a representative for Hank Allen. I want to recognize any state, city, or county officials that may be with us, members of any of our foundations, any of the foundation members here. If you are, please stand. Okay. And again, we just really want to thank all of our faculty and staff for what you do every single day. The success of this university rides on the success of our faculty and staff and the dedication that you have put in over the last 127 years. So again, thank you to our faculty and our staff. We certainly could not do what we do for our students without you. And again, to Justice Beatty, thank you for being here. And may I have Justice Beatty's family to please stand. Justice Beatty family and friends who traveled to see him today. Thank you so very much. Thank you very, very much for being here today. Our amazing students, again, it is spring break and they're here with us. We want to thank again our soloists as well as our wind ensemble. Thank you very much. Retired faculty and staff, where are you? Thank you so much for being here. And again, Sodexo for earlier today. And last but not least, our Founders Day Committee and support staff for all of the events this weekend. Thank you very, very much. At this time, please stand for the alma mater, retiring of the colors, and a benediction by Reverend Cattonhead. And all honorees are asked to remain on stage for pictures.
Send them ringing through the groves and classic halls. Hail, hail, dear alma mater. Hail, hail, dear SCC. We'll defend and honor, love and cherish thee. We are loyal sons and daughters, proud to own the name we bear. For the truth that thou hast taught us, ready all to do and dare. Hail, hail, dear alma mater. Hail, hail, dear SCC. We'll defend and honor, love and cherish thee. Yea.
84 years old. Retire the colors. True to colors. Before our benediction, I will also like to thank the wonderful, amazing senior level cabinet that I get to work with every single day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, our benediction.
As it is written in Numbers, the 6th chapter, verses 24 through 26. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you favor and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you very much. That's it.